promise. We've been chasing.
Here we go. Here we go there. Sorry, that's probably
Right. Here we go.
Absolute fucking disaster. It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
I didn't cause a road accident in Harringay, did I?
Listen, you've got a plan, you've got to prepare for
Unbelievable.
this.
Not have it. Oh, got a plan for things, have you?
Yeah.
Like Iraq. In we go. Come on. Malcolm Tucker, in the thick of it, was based on you. I mean, was there truth? Is Malcolm Tucker a pretty truthful kind of portrayal of how you were in
What,
number
a
10?
mildly psychotic Scottish spin doctor trying to control the media and the
Yeah, I mean, the
politicians?
Scottish thing, you've Scottish roots.
I feel much more... I've never felt English. I've always felt British and Scottish.
You're deflecting. Just go back to the point.
No,
I
I'm
made
saying
about
yes.
Oh, so it was like that?
Well,
did you
no.
go around just telling people to F off
No,
and stuff like that?
I do swear too much. I swear in my diaries too much.
I know, yeah, quite
I do swear too much.
Yeah, potty mouth.
I'm not pretending that I wasn't tough in terms of how I did the job and how I wanted to do the job and how I take my case forward. But I think what happened, I think a lot of it came from, particularly in the broadcast media, fun enough, people who I didn't really have that much to do with, who kind of bought into this kind of mythology that developed. I think if you talk to most of the journalists who dealt with me most of the time, I don't think they thought I was a thug, and I don't think they thought I was that Machiavellian.
Right, Gordon Brown and Tony Blair. It was very much enjoyed the diary. He's got a headache though dealing with those two. Oh, I mean, you had violent dreams about them. You had dreams where what were they doing? Punching each other. Worse, killing each other.
There was one with an axe. I had a period.
Who axed who?
Gordon had the axe. It was. I mean,
This was a dream. This wasn't.
It was a dream.
Just checking.
No, I'll tell you what happened. It was really interesting because when I left, so I left in 2003. I came back for the election. Tony wanted me because he was under so much pressure from Gordon, and Gordon wanted me because he wanted me to help with the transition, which I was happy to do despite everything.
You had growing doubts about him, though, didn't you?
I did have doubts, but
you didn't think he'd be able to reinvent himself as that's what in your head you were thinking he'll have to be someone different if he's going to be a successful prime minister.
In my head, I was worried. I thought he could be a good prime minister. I think he had fantastic strengths. I was worried that and I say this there's a meeting with him with him and Ed Balls where I say, I think you think this is just a sort of slightly different version of doing what you do now. It's a completely different order of things, and I worried about whether he would have the kind of the makeup to do all of that being prime minister requires.
There was a coup against Tony Blair, an attempted coup, 2006. Tom Watson, now deputy leader of the Labour Party, resigned. Do you think Gordon Brown was pulling the strings of that whole coup?
I think. I mean, I think it says in the diaries that I was a bit sceptical about Tom tootling off to Fife to hand over a few Postman Pat books.
Just having a chat with him.
So I think, look, there's no doubt at that time that Gordon was feeling incredibly frustrated, felt that Tony was hanging on too long, felt that, they definitely had different senses of what they had agreed. So I think it's entirely possible. But in the end, it's history. I mean, and poor old Tom, now you lot are trying to get him out of here.
No,
what are you doing that
for?
No?
What I've got? That's that's literally just made up, so that's fine.
Is that fake news?
But I have something to do with what? Trying to what?
I mean, you lot, as in the.
Oh, I see.
If you want
to say you lot, then I can say you lot back to you.
Now, I'm proud about you lot.
Jeremy Corbyn, Labour haven't won yet. Okay,
correct.
Both the Tories and Labour lost the election just now.
Correct.
But under Jeremy Corbyn, they got the biggest increase in the share of the vote for Labour since 1945 with Attlee. He didn't have to compromise his agenda and start ceding ground to the Tories. Doesn't that make you think? Doesn't it question your fundamental worldview in some way?
Not fundamentally, no, because I think this stuff is much more complicated than that. What I will give Jeremy Corbyn is he campaigned a lot better than people expected. I certainly expected him to. I passionately wish that he'd campaigned as effectively during the referendum campaign, because I think then we might be in a different position. Just as I passionately wish in the two Prime Minister's questions we've had so far, the word Brexit might cross his lips, because leadership is about the really big stuff. I thought in the election, I was wrong, I thought that the kind of facing two ways on Europe would be a problem for Labour. It seems to me that a lot of Remainers thought, well, I'll vote Labour because they hate the Tories and the Tories are hard Brexit. A lot of Leavers thought, well, Corbyn's not banging on about Brexit, so he probably doesn't care that much. I feel okay. Jeremy Corbyn and you guys are basically trying to say, one, we sort of won the election. He's on a victory lap of
No, he's
the
not.
country.
He's trying to win the election by going around the country
That's
trying to
fine.
build support.
That's fine, but I think
that's
the
how you
other
win.
Yeah, no, I think that is. I'll tell you what. I honestly think you've got to be really careful in imagining that either that you can go just with the same sort of politics or the same manifesto.
What's your major objection to Corbynism as a political perspective? What was your problems with the manifesto?
I thought a lot of the stuff in the manifesto was good. I think a lot of that could happen, great. But I'll tell you what I thought was, do you know what? We're going about spin. I'll tell you, one of the best pieces of spin that was done, hats off to John McDonnell, whoever else was involved in this, the way that they got over in advance of the manifesto this idea that it was fully costed, it wasn't. It was based on some pretty extraordinary assumptions about what was going to happen to the economy. A lot of the stuff they want to do is going to be impossible if the economy goes the way it's going to go with Brexit.
I mean, do you think the worry with that kind of thing, you're making a case which is basically what the Conservatives have argued? I mean, why should
they argue
that it's not costed? And
No,
all the
do
rest
you know
of it?
what? No,
don't you
no,
think?
no,
Why
wait a
wouldn't they
minute.
just clip that video
No.
now and distribute it?
No, what they in fact they didn't do that. And I'll tell you, I thought...
Yes, they did. They said there was a huge black hole. They went
I
on
know,
about
no,
the
but
magic money tree.
that
and
was
stuff.
not... Fair enough, but that was not... That magic money tree came straight out of a focus group, same as stable, strong and stable. I can spot those a mile off. They didn't do that as a matter of strategic course. Philip Hammond wanted to do that, but actually Theresa May, because she thought it was such a... And this was... Let's, again, be honest about this. I will accept Jeremy Corbyn fought a much better campaign, but you must also accept that the fact that the Tory campaign was so bad, that she was so terrible, was a big factor in that. That will be changed at the next election.
Well,
and you've got to start to think ahead to that.
In terms of winning, Tony Blair thinks he's got a good chance of becoming Prime Minister. He does think that. He said that in interviews.
Yeah.
He's made it clear that he thinks that the programme Jeremy Corbyn's standing on is bad for this country. He sabotaged a former Labour Prime Minister going on national television to say he doesn't want the Labour Party to win under its current leader.
He didn't say... Listen, he
did.
voted Labour. Look,
Did he? I'm not sure he did.
Well,
How do you know he did? I'd be surprised given his recent interviews.
Of course I believe him when he tells me he did.
So has he
That's
told
why.
you? He's told you he voted Labour?
He definitely voted
Did
Labour.
he agonise over it?
I don't think so, no. I think he'd... and also, if you're a member of the Labour Party, you know, I think you're allowed to vote for another party.
No, which is why I'm trying to find out if he did or not.
Okay.
Do you agree with
something?
him? Go on.
Can I just say something? If we're questioning how people voted,
Right.
I think there's a few around Jeremy Corbyn that I'd love to see how they voted in the referendum.
Well, I know them, and I know them personally.
So what, you're allowed to believe the people you know, but you question...
No,
people
I asked you a question. Didn't say I didn't believe you. I'm just
Okay,
wondering.
good. Now I was
That's
looking
all.
in your
I'm just
eyes.
saying, given what he said about not wanting Jeremy Corbyn to become Prime Minister, which he's very clear he doesn't want Jeremy Corbyn to become Prime Minister, I'm just surprised he voted for Labour.
I think he's got genuine... Look, I've got genuine concerns about Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell running the economy. I really have. Now, I voted Labour. Look, here's the other thing. I thought we're meant to all be honest about what we think now.
Yeah.
Right? I can't say things that I don't believe.
No, sure.
And I haven't bought the Kool-Aid.